Johny was a 30-year-old man living in a small town in Russia. The cold winter wind swept through the narrow streets, carrying the sharp scent of pine and snow. Life in this quiet town was simple, yet Johnny's world had become complicated and heavy with sorrow. Years ago, Johny had been a young man full of dreams. Dreams of a happy life, of love, and of future possibilities. His heart belonged to Anya, a bright and beautiful girl who had captured his soul. They had met in college, a chance meeting that blossomed into a deep and meaningful relationship. Anya was smart and kind, with a passion for helping others. She was studying to become a doctor, and Johny admired her dedication. Together, they planned their future, a home filled with laughter, children, and a life built on love. But fate had a cruel design. One bitterly cold winter night, everything changed. Anya was in an accident, a sudden tragedy that stole her away from Johny forever. The news shattered him. His world, once filled with light and hope, was now engulfed in darkness. Johny's life became a shadow of what it once was. He stopped going out, stopped talking to friends, and withdrew into himself. The pain was unbearable, and he felt lost in a sea of loneliness. Time passed, but Johny's grief remained fresh and raw. His childhood friend Alex, who had moved to America years ago to become a successful advocate, heard about Johny's state and decided to return home. Alex was curious and hopeful to see his old friend doing well. When Alex arrived, he found Johny sitting alone in a small, dimly lit room. The vibrant man he once knew was gone. Johny's eyes were hollow, his spirit broken. "Johny," Alex said gently, "what happened to you? I thought you would be doing great." Johny looked up, his eyes filled with pain. "Anya, she's gone. I lost her." Alex sat beside him, listening intently as Johny began to share the story of his heartbreak. He spoke about the accident, the sudden emptiness, and the crushing loneliness. He spoke of nights spent crying and days spent wishing to turn back time. Alex wanted to help. He brought Johny to doctors and counselors, encouraged him to talk and to try to find peace. It was not easy, but slowly Johny started to open his heart. Alex also introduced Johny to support groups where people shared their own stories of loss and healing. Johny realized he was not alone. Others had suffered too, and they had found ways to live again. Still, every day was a struggle. The memory of Anya was a quiet presence in his life. Sometimes a painful reminder, other times a gentle comfort. Johny clung to those memories as a reason to keep moving forward. Alex admired Johny's courage. Despite the pain, Johny never gave up completely. He wanted to live, to honor Anya's memory by trying to find happiness again. Their conversations often turned to hope and dreams. Alex told Johny about America, about his work as an advocate, and the lives he helped change. Johny listened, inspired by his friend's strength and determination. Together they dreamed of a new beginning for Johny, a life where grief no longer ruled, where memories could heal instead of hurt. As winter slowly gave way to spring, Johny felt a small spark of hope. It was fragile, but real. The journey ahead would be long and difficult, but with Alex by his side, Johny was ready to face the future. This was just the beginning of Johny's story, a story of love lost, pain endured, and the slow path to healing. Johny's journey toward healing was neither quick nor easy. The cold Russian winter still lingered as he tried to rebuild his life without Anya. Every morning was a challenge, every breath a reminder of what he had lost. Alex stayed close, offering support whenever Johny needed it. Sometimes they would sit for hours, talking about the past, sharing memories, and slowly planning for the future. Alex's presence was a light in Johny's dark world. One day, Alex suggested that Johny start going outside more. "The world is still beautiful, Johny," he said. "Anya would want you to live, to find happiness again." Johny wasn't sure. The city felt cold and empty without her. But with Alex's encouragement, he began taking small walks through the snowy streets. The fresh air, the soft crunch of snow under his boots, and the quiet of the town gave him moments of peace. At times, Johny visited the places he and Anya loved: the little cafe by the river, the park where they first met, and the old library where they spent afternoons reading together. Each place held memories that both comforted and hurt him. Through these visits, Johny started writing again. He wrote letters to Anya, expressing the thoughts he could never say out loud. The words were sometimes painful, sometimes hopeful, but they helped him release his feelings. Alex was proud of Johny's progress. He reminded him that healing was not forgetting, but learning to live with the pain. As the days grew warmer and the snow melted, Johny also began to reconnect with old friends. He realized that even though his world had changed, people still cared for him. One evening, while sitting by the fireplace in Alex's small apartment, Johny shared a dream he had. "I dreamt of Anya," he said quietly. "She told me to be strong, to live fully, and to love again." Alex smiled warmly. "That's a powerful message. Maybe it's time to open your heart." Johny nodded. He knew that moving forward did not mean forgetting Anya. It meant carrying her memory with love and allowing himself to find joy once more. With renewed determination, Johny began volunteering at a local hospital. Helping others gave him a new purpose, and he found comfort in Anya's dream of healing and care. His work connected him with many people: patients, doctors, and fellow volunteers. They inspired him and reminded him of the good still present in the world. Slowly, Johny felt the weight of grief lighten. He was not the same man he was before, but he was growing stronger. One day, Alex brought news from America. He was organizing a conference on mental health and invited Johny to speak about his experiences. It was an opportunity for Johny to share his story, help others, and find healing through connection. At first, Johny hesitated. Speaking in front of strangers was frightening, but Alex encouraged him. "Your story can change lives," he said. Johny agreed. The day of the conference arrived, and Johny stood before the audience, his heart pounding. He spoke about love, loss, and the long road to healing. His words touched many, and for the first time in a long while, Johny felt a deep sense of peace. After the conference, Johny and Alex celebrated. Their friendship, tested by time and tragedy, had become a source of strength and hope. Johny knew that the journey was far from over, but he was no longer alone. With Alex by his side and Anya in his heart, he was ready to face whatever came next. Johny's life continued to change in ways he had never imagined. After the conference in America, he returned to Russia with a new sense of purpose and determination. The pain of losing Anya was still there, but it no longer controlled him. Alex stayed in touch regularly, sharing updates from his work as an advocate and reminding Johny of the strength within him. Their friendship grew even stronger, a bond forged through hardship and hope. Back in Russia, Johny began to dream again. He thought about opening a small community center where people could come to share their stories, find support, and heal. The idea was inspired by the support groups he had joined and the conference experience. With the help of Alex and some local friends, Johny started making plans. It was not easy. There were challenges with funding, permits, and skepticism from some townspeople. But Johny's resolve was unbreakable. The community center opened its doors on a chilly autumn morning. Johny stood in front of a small crowd, feeling a mixture of nervousness and pride. The center was a place for healing, learning, and connection. People came from all over the town, some carrying their own stories of loss and pain. Johny listened to each person with empathy, sharing his own journey and encouraging them to find strength in their struggles. The center became a symbol of hope in the town, a place where darkness met light. Johny also began to take care of himself more, exercising, eating well, and spending time outdoors. He discovered a love for painting, a hobby that allowed him to express emotions words could not capture. Through art, Johny found peace and a new way to honor Anya's memory. One day, Johny met Elena, a gentle woman who volunteered at the center. She was kind, patient, and understood his pain. Over time, they grew close, sharing laughter, tears, and dreams. Elena helped Johny believe in love again. She never tried to replace Anya, but became a new source of joy and comfort. Their relationship was slow and careful, built on trust and respect. Johny knew that healing was not about forgetting the past, but building a future where memories could live alongside new happiness. Years later, Johny looked back on his journey with gratitude. The darkness he had once felt was replaced by light, hope, and love. He continued to honor Anya's memory every day, but also embraced the life he had rebuilt. With Alex's friendship, Elena's love, and the community's support, Johny knew he was never truly alone. The story of Johny was a story of resilience, of how a broken heart could mend, and how life, even after the deepest loss, could be beautiful again.